Hey guys, Holistic Health with Harry, and today I'm joined by someone some of you have been watching my stuff long enough may recognize, Nathan Waltz. Hello, Nathan, how are you?
Harry, great. How's it going, man? It's great to see you.
Yeah, I'm excited, bro. And do you know what? I was just talking to you quickly off air. I was gonna say for this, like you're looking really well, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. You're looking really healthy. Like I can tell there's some vibrancy going on there, man. Some huge shifts, upgrades.
Yeah, good. Thanks, man. Well, we're heading into spring. The days are longer and it's raining right now. But it's just been a little sunnier lately and that always makes things better.
Yeah, more tanned, more vibrancy. I can see the more health and stuff. So yeah. So last time we talked a little bit about, from what I remember, mitochondria. I think we covered red light therapy, sunlight, sun rising, all this stuff. But since then, a lot's happened, and you recently did a dry fast of quite significant length, and that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's my latest biohack. So, I heard about dry fasting. I think it was probably about 3 years ago. And there were some people on Facebook I knew that were talking about it. And when I heard about it, to me, it sounded a little bit extreme. And I'm just like, I don't know about this. And somebody that was doing it kind of motivated me and encouraged me to just do a 24-hour dry fast. So I did it. And I ended up pushing it out to 36 hours. And it was much easier than I thought.
Yeah.
Prior to that, so I've been intermittent fasting for years.
Mhm.
And prior to that, I tried to do a 3-day fast.
Mm.
I didn't make it. I made it to like 2 days and 18 hours. And I caved with about 6 hours to go. I was so hungry and just uncomfortable. And I just caved. And then all of a sudden, hey, have you done many extended fast?
I'm off it at the moment, if I'm being honest. It's not a phase of my life. The last 2-3 years I was into it big time, and I did of length significant to you too. So a week hard dry fast. That was my best. It was pretty good.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, I survived. We're still here, Nathan. What's going on? We're still here.
Yeah. Did you go straight into the 7-day dry fast or did you work your way up to that?
If I'm being honest, I've always done 1 meal a day, with dry fasting 18, 20 hours pretty much consistently before that. Plus I was on some power protocols, the urine therapy and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, this is caveated. We should not recommend this, I feel, to people to do such length if you haven't prior done some cleansing. I think that's fair, right?
Yeah, well, actually, what got me into it was somebody on my email list sent me an interview with this guy, August Dunning. Have you heard of him?
No, I haven't actually. No.
So he was on somebody's podcast. I forget the other guy's name. I had never heard of him. So I listened to this interview and it was pretty intriguing. I was just like, wow. So after the interview, I was like, I got his book.
Yeah.
Actually happen to have it right here. It's called
the Phoenix Protocol Dry Fast. There's not many books on dry fasting out there. You reckon, is that worth people buying? Even me as well.
Absolutely. It's an easy read.
Yeah.
And he goes through the protocol. He talks about, Russian doctors have done quite a bit of research on this.
Yep.
And they've cured people of all sorts of things, from cancer, diabetes, obesity, all different things. And so he also recommends a phased approach. The first time you do it, do 24 to 36 hours and then do 3 days, 4 days, and just work your way up. And so for his protocol, if you're in good shape, the recommendation once you work your way up is 7 days. But if you have a severe chronic issue, it's 11 days.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Does he suggest in his book, do you know the difference between a hard or a dry? I think that's what, or wet, they call it, I guess, in the community. Basically, it's, you don't touch any water during this dry fast, or do you?
So he does not recommend, I forget what he calls that, but he does not recommend a hard dry fast, maybe.
Okay.
He does. Yeah. So he recommends like bathing, taking showers, stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah, that's interesting.
So he said that can be dangerous.
Right. Well, on that, I did the hard dry fast because I was young, spirit, and motivated at that point in my life. I think it was about 3 years ago. And I do agree, because if you're basically not taking any, whereas if you at least did the soft one, you touch and you bathe in it or do the water stuff, you're going to get some water into the skin, which will make it a little less intense. So yeah, it can be dangerous for sure to do it for a long time with the dry. Because ultimately, I think that there's a limit to how long you can do these without actually causing yourself serious harm. There's a point where it maximizes and there's a point where it starts to cause harm, I feel.
Yeah, everything has it's called a biphasic dose response. So yeah, when you get the right amount of something, it gives you a benefit, but if you exceed that, it can cause you harm. And obviously with this, if you go too long, you can die. But
Exactly.
most people don't have that that kind of grit to starve themselves to death. But at
True.
least I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, I have no desire, not something I want to do.
Yeah.
But so, I listened to the podcast. I got the book. I read it in about 2 days. I found it fascinating, and I
Mm,
still wasn't ready for it yet. So what I did was I just set an intention. I'm
mm,
like, at some point in my life, I want to do this. That was about a month ago. Then about 3 weeks later,
mm,
I woke up on a Thursday morning,
mm.
and I just said, today's the day I'm going to start this dry fast. I'm going to go for 48 hours. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do an intermittent fast. I do an ice bath in the morning
Nice.
because where I live, the winters are very dark. They're very cold.
Mm.
And it's one of my hacks to get me through the winters. It keeps my energy up. It keeps me feeling good, keeps me focused.
I love the irony of what you just said there. One of the hacks when you're in the cold is to go in the colder to keep your energy up.
Yeah. Well, if people saw, our talk the last time, kind of the theme of what I teach is to reconnect with nature. And I know that you do that too, but it's all about just living the way people used to live while living in a modern world, and just doing the things that people used to do that kept them healthy
Yeah. Yeah.
in our modern world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true.
Right?
Okay, so before we run into your lifestyle and delve a little bit deeper in the other ones, let's just focus on the dry fast for now and say that, so you did 4 days, and what was you experiencing? Did you find it hard? I think you've already said you found it easy. What kind of benefits did you experience in the moment? And here's the key, what did you experience afterwards? Did you get benefits afterwards, during? Was it one or the other? Did you feel
Yeah.
different?
Well, I didn't say it was easy. It was a challenge for me. The 36-hour one I did was easy.
Mm,
So I get up on Thursday morning, I do my ice bath, and usually I do some intense exercise just to ramp up AMPK, also to burn through any glycogen, just to increase the benefits of dry fasting.
mm,
So I skipped that. I just did the ice bath. So the first 2 days were easy. So I set my goal. I'm going to do 48 hours, then reassess. And I was coming up on 2 full days.
mm.
And the start had been at 9 p.m. at night. That was Wednesday at 9 p.m. That was the last time I drank anything, or I didn't eat. Like I ate like 6 p.m. that night. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to at least push it out another 12 hours so I can get 2.5 days. Then the next morning I woke up, I'm like, I'm going to push through this day. And that was Saturday. So Saturday was the first time it started to kind of get a little uncomfortable. And there was periods of like 45 minutes to an hour
Mm.
when I really wanted to eat, I wanted to drink, but I kind of pushed through it, and then it was fine.
Yeah.
But Saturday night, so this was like the third full day into it,
Mhm.
I started to kind of almost obsess about wanting to eat food. I was thinking about going to a buffet, like an all you can eat kind of restaurant, which I never go to. I was just thinking about like pristine water. And it was more, what I kind of really learned about this, it was more psychological than physical.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just, we have these, eating and drinking is very habitual.
Mm.
So me, I don't snack a lot, but I typically, when I don't fast, I eat my 3 meals a day.
Mm. Mhm.
Right. And I'm drinking water throughout my days.
Yeah.
So for me, that's very habitual. And there was like just always this urge to kind of to go for the water. It was just like, oh yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. Jesus, man, like I've got to agree with you there, and I'm sure people watching too. It's more, I love that. It's more psychological when you do these. It's more habitual, and I feel like there's a certain pleasure involved when we always eat food, because most of us are eating foods that we want to eat, whether they be good or bad or whatever you define them. They're pleasurable to eat to the mouth, the sensation of the taste. So when you're depriving yourself of that, it's hard. It's really hard, and you feel like, did you go through this? You feel like you for the first time when you're doing a long fast like this, you feel like you have earned the right to food when you break the fast. You're like, okay, now I really earned it. I really have. And before, you just feel like, oh, it's just always there. And now when it's taken away, you're like, oh damn, I really earned my food for the first time in my life.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that, but it did make me think about less fortunate people, that they don't always have access to food. So I did spend a fair amount of time thinking about that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much, I deserve it. It was just like, it's going to taste really good when I eat. But I was really more focused. For me, wanting to drink water was a bigger driver than wanting to eat food.
Oh, right. Okay, so you were just more thirsty than you wanted to drink more than. Yep.
Yeah, but there were periods where it was like I was really thirsty. My mouth would get a little dry, and there were, especially, most people notice when they get stressed, their fight or flight kicks in, your mouth gets dry. And there were like a few little stressful situations that popped up, and all of a sudden, my mouth was just super dry, like kind of pasty, like almost, because you don't even brush your teeth on this. You're not supposed to have like any water touch your mouth. So there were some times where I really had to manage my stress. I would do some buteyko breathing, just to kind of help my mouth gain moisture. Oh, the other thing I was doing was I mouth taped every night.
Cool.
I did not mouth tape Wednesday night because at that point I wasn't planning on doing it. But once I decided to do it, I mouth taped every night just to preserve as much moisture as possible in my mouth.
Yeah, smart. Huh.
One of the things I did to stay motivated throughout this was I reread this book. And so I was reading it. So I was like on day 3, that's when your body upregulates stem cell production. So I'm like, I've got to get this benefit. So then I'm like Saturday night, I'm like, okay, I'm going to push through till tomorrow morning at 9. That'll be a full 3.5 days. And I woke up the next morning. I was like, I'm going to push on. And the one thing I noticed on Saturday, started to kind of lose my tolerance for cold.
What does that mean? Lose your tolerance for cold? You started to
I
feel
was more sensitive to cold.
Sensitive to cold. Okay. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. So I was noticing I was more sensitive to cold. And then on Sunday morning, it was a sunny day. It was about 25 Fahrenheit. So minus, I don't know, 3 or 4 Celsius. And I was hanging out with my son. We went for a walk, and I just had a hoodie on. And normally that's plenty for me. And 5-10 minutes into the walk, I'll take the hoodie off. At that kind of temperature. But I was like freezing my butt off. And I was hoping my son would be like, Dad, I'm tired. Can we go home? And about a half mile into it, he's like, Dad, I'm getting cold. Can we turn back? And it was pretty breezy.
Yeah.
Because we were walking along a river. And so I was just like, oh, thank God. So we headed back, and we're just chilling out. And my son had kind of misbehaved a little bit, and he doesn't get to watch a lot of TV as it is.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to chill out. So I'm like, I'm not going to let him watch just frivolous TV. So we watched The Sound of Music, which is, it's not quite educational, but it's better than like a lot of the other stuff you normally watch. So we're watching Sound of Music. And also, like, I was doing a fair amount of reading through all this, and it's just everything I'm reading, it just, food or drink would always jump out at me. And it's just such a prevalent part of our society.
Yep.
Right. So we're watching Sound of Music, and there's a lot of drinking of alcohol in that movie. But then there was a scene, they're sitting outside and they're drinking pink lemonade.
Pink lemonade, nice.
And I was just like thinking like, oh my God, that would be the most amazing thing right now. And I just like couldn't stop thinking about pink lemonade. I'm like, I want to get pink lemonade. So I made it through Sunday, and so I'm like, okay, well, I'm definitely going to break my fast Monday morning. So Monday morning at 9. That would have been
4 days. 4 days.
That was going to be 4.5 days.
4
days and 12 hours.
Yes.
So I got to 9, and my mouth is super pasty. I'm like, I'm going to push it out till noon. I did end up, my mouth, I could barely even talk. My mouth was getting so pasty.
Yeah.
I did take a sip of water. I swigged it around and spit it out. And then I broke my water fast at noon. So it was 4 days and 15 hours.
15 hours. Cool.
And I went grocery shopping earlier that day. And I bought like 3 different kinds of water.
Oh, okay. You get excited because you just,
Yeah. So I drank the water, and I mean, it tasted like the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
And then I broke my food fast that night for dinner, and my stomach didn't shrink at all. Like the book was saying, after 7 days,
you didn't lose weight. Did you monitor your weight?
I did. I lost 13.6 pounds.
13.6 pounds just from 4 days of dry fasting.
Yeah. So that's
an incredible amount. Jesus.
Kilo.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And my body fat went from 14% to 11%.
Whoa. Whoa, that's crazy. Have you put that? This only was broken was it just last week you broke it? Just recently?
Yeah, it's been 2 Mondays ago at this point.
Okay. And does the weight go back on for you when you've done that since, or is it still
It's all
maintained?
back. It's
All
all
back.
back. I weighed myself this morning,
Yeah.
and it was actually up about a pound.
Wow.
Yeah. So my goal wasn't weight loss. I'm actually, for me, I have
Yeah.
kind of a thinner frame, so I have to actually work to keep muscle on.
Yeah.
So I've been doing resistance training.
Mm.
So I gave myself, actually that next day I started up again resistance training, and I've been pushing myself pretty hard
Mm.
and eating quite a bit with the goal to pack on muscle.
Yep.
So which I've done. I exceeded my before weight by about a pound.
Wow. Yeah.
And yeah.
That's incredible. Whilst you're talking here, I'm thinking too, I don't know why I haven't connected the dots, because you do look really physically glowing right now. Maybe, I don't know if you'd agree with this, but I think a lot of that is to do with the dry fast you've just come off, the hard dry fast. Because I've noticed, Nathan, whenever I've gone on 24-hour dry fasts or longer, there's a paradox here, because you're not taking in fluids or foods, but not fluids. And then yet your skin is becoming more hydrated in a way, and it's looking more pure. And a lot of people that are against dry fasting don't understand that, but you have to experience it to see your sins glow when you do a dry fast, and your skin's glowing. And I think a lot of that would be, I mean, you do a lot of things, don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of that would be the hard dry fast you've just done to reset you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So my skin, I'm sure, turned over
Mm.
because I do dry brushing. And like on day 3 or 4, I was like dry brushing my legs, and they were completely dry.
Yeah.
Like all
Yeah.
my skin was just
Would
flaking
the
off.
fluff come off the skin, the white stuff? Yeah, loads of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a great experience. I'm going to do it again next time. I will go for 7 days. And
Yeah.
but so when you did it, Harry, what
Mm.
benefits did you notice?
So when I did it, I was motivated for just to heal myself and get rid of the toxins from deep within. What I noticed was my brain was really sharp throughout. I think that's what got me obsessed with dry fasting since I first found out about it. And this was, Nathan, only 16 hours, by the way, 16-hour hard dry fast, but it was only 16 hours. So it was still eating in the day, or even 20 hours. I always noticed my brain was just so sharp. And that's what motivates me. Like, because I love my brain to be sharp, because I'm a dot connector.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a geek like you. I'm always trying to figure out the mechanisms of why things work in science. And I can just do it so much better when I'm dry fasting and empty. Because I feel like you. Do you feel like that the body produces its own water? They say in the books, endogenic water. So it's like you are hydrating somewhat with them.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we know that from mitochondria, right? Mitochondria make 3 things: ATP, carbon dioxide, and water. They make metabolic water. It's deuterium depleted water. So one of the other things you do when you're dry fasting is your body is depleting deuterium.
Love it. Oh, that's key. Yeah, because deuterium is
Yes.
a crappy water. Deuterium, it's eliminating that. And does that water it produce become in the blood? The bloodstream now becomes a bloodstream water. Is that what you're saying? That water.
No. So your mitochondria inside your cells,
Mhm.
when they're making energy, they're making this water which hydrates the cells. So when you drink water, that's not hydrating your cells.
Yeah.
Your mitochondria actually use the electrons from that water. They break it apart. They use those electrons to make ATP. One of the byproducts is water, but it's water that your mitochondria make. It's not the water that you drink.
Right. Yeah, and it's endogenic water for the cells. And yeah, I agree. By the way, so I think there are some special waters that would go deep into the cells, but why not use your own body to do that yourself with the dry fast? And that's where the hydration aspect comes from. This water's staying in the cells, and it's really hydrating the skin. And my God, I really think this one is a good focus for people, Nathan, because some people don't want to spend a lot of money. I mean, there's a lot of criticism sometimes. Like, there are technologies out there, me and you know about, that really are worth investing in. But then there's stuff like this that's for everybody, that, especially in Western culture, like the overeating culture, that because I think that's the main cause of disease, like overeating and eating too much, frequency, amounts, and then eating too much. So when you talk about dry fasting and healing power, that's the game changer that doesn't cost anything. And it's so much more than just cost. I feel like it trains you to become a warrior and take your health and your life seriously. Because if you can do that, what can't you do?
Yeah. Well, Harry, you just nailed it. So people that are always eating, their body's always releasing insulin, and that actually ages you. So when you dry fast, one of the things that initiates the upregulation of stem cells is your body stops releasing insulin.
Yeah.
And that's the signal you need. So the other thing, the other reason why you look younger, and according to this book, you can add 15 to 20 years of your life by doing this practice. You do it like once a year, which, I mean, it's amazing. There's nothing else out there I've read about that gives you an extra 15 to 20 years. Like there's stuff like you do this, that might give you like a year or two of your life, and you add it all up. But this is one thing, 15 to 20 years, which is huge. But one of the main benefits, in addition to stem cells, is your body goes into extended autophagy.
Right.
So your cells, one of the things that drives aging is our cells get dirty. They lose efficiency. They make less energy, and they're unable to get rid of that metabolic waste. So when you do this, you're cleaning out the cells, and the cells that are senescent, that are no longer properly functioning, you're just flushing those out. You're getting rid of them. You have stem cells.
Yep.
So with stem cells, you can make any new cell you want to. And that stem cell, like that therapy, that's very cutting edge, very expensive, but a lot of people with money, like a lot of the big biohackers, they're going in, they're doing stem cell therapy,
Right.
which not everyone can afford.
Yeah.
This is a free way to do it.
Free stem cell therapy. I love that. My God, you brought up something there as well. I'm going to try and remember the point that made me think, oh no, it's gone. There was something there that I wanted to touch with you, with what you just said. But don't worry. There was something.
Yeah,
you made me think of something to the dry fast. That was really cool. It's gone now.
It'll come back. But the other thing on day 4, the reason I wanted to at least do a partial day 4 is because like viruses and bacteria that basically they're like inside your cells that are harder to get to, they get released. And a lot of people on day 4 will get a fever, which I did not get. Did you get a fever when you did your
you just
day?
reminded me what I was going to say. It's all linked to this. So they say water fasting feeds inflammation, because unfortunately the bad stuff does thrive on water too. And then the dry fast, what it does, and I believe this to be true, is that actually if you don't feed it water, then all of a sudden it gets it boils it like what do they call it? Like a sauna. It destroys the bad shit. So what I noticed
it starves it out essentially.
Yeah, have you noticed this, Nathan, with them, that when I go on long ones, I get hot sometimes and then cold. So you explained earlier you got cold at certain points more than normal, but I also get hot more than normal on the dry fast too. I think that's the burning of the inflammation of the bad stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you get warmer, that's your body. It's detecting viral.
And that's linked in with the fever, isn't it? I think fever makes you colder or hot. It gives you that flushing kind of sensation where the body temperature gets irregulated with the fever. So I do feel there's something to that. Fever therapy, dry fasting fever therapy.
Yeah. So it didn't happen for me on day 3 and 4. I was definitely much chillier, but then into day 5, it was 16 Fahrenheit and sunny, and I was outside in the same hoodie I had on Sunday. I felt great. I was actually driving. I had my sunroof open in my car, and I had my hand out the window. It was feeling great. I wasn't hot, but I just had my cold tolerance back. It was feeling good.
Yeah, that's powerful. So what would you say is the main benefit that motivated you? I think you touched a bit earlier, but say again, like what's the main benefit that motivated you towards doing this, to push you towards, and what was the most surprising thing that you found during it?
Like the surprising challenge benefit?
Something that you didn't expect as you went through the process, whether it be physical health benefit or emotional. You just wasn't ready. You didn't realize that was going to come up.
What was surprising is just how psychological hunger and thirst is. That was the biggest thing for me. I did feel better focus, like you mentioned. Like I'm always doing things, the brain is the most important organ to take care of long term, right? Because you can have a perfectly healthy heart, but if your brain's not working well, your heart's going to suffer as a result, right? And just having the ability to think well is very important to me.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So that was a big driver. Spiritual growth. I've been on kind of a spiritual journey lately, and just exploring like my soul and past lives and stuff like that. So another thing the book said was you will dissolve emotional traumas.
Yeah, I believe that. Definitely.
So that was a driver too. And just, you know, I'm a biohacker. I'm always doing stuff to extend my life and to
Yep.
feel better and have better energy. So I had a lot of motivations to do it.
Yeah, I love that. So, Luke, can you just quickly show us the book again for the people? Because I'm definitely going to buy it. So I want people to really
Yeah,
get the
the
best book.
Phoenix Protocol,
Phoenix Try Fasting.
August Dunning.
Yep. I
So
wonder if
he
he's on
wrote a lot.
Facebook. Is he on social media, that guy?
I don't know,
Hmm.
but he is a former NASA Space Station Ops Systems engineer.
Mm.
He actually developed this protocol for astronauts because
Mm.
astronauts actually rapidly age when they're in space.
Mm.
So this was a protocol to help them mitigate the
Ah,
aging impact of space.
smart. Yeah, that's a super
It
smart.
turns out the Russians have researched this for years. You know, the Russians were the first with red light therapy.
Mm.
But you know, the Russia has a lot of great scientists that are researching ways to extend life
Yeah.
and to optimize performance too.
Yeah, I think the most famous research in dry fasting, for the longest time, Dr. Iganov, I think his name is. He's got a book on it. He's taken many patients and done dry fasts on them, thousands. I think he's the most famous that I know of around the world. So the Russians.
Yeah, he's probably the guy mentioned in his book. I forget
Mm.
where it was, but
By the way, quickly, another good book is Quantum Eating. I can't remember. Zonya Zestrev. That's a good one. Really good
I
book
haven't
on
heard of
dry.
that one. What's that
Mm.
all about?
Same topic. That talks about the metabolic water, the dry fast. I mean, she doesn't recommend 4-7 days, I must admit, but she talks about a daily hard dry fast of 18, 20 hours a day. And there's benefits of she goes through the benefits of what was available at the time. I think it was a couple of years ago, 10 years ago it came out. So that's not a good. There's not enough, Nathan, books on it, and that's why I'm really happy that you're talking about it now, because it's just free and amazing. Because your body's amazing. Your body does all the work when you get out of its way, and this shows it.
Yeah, 100%. So true. And that kind of goes back to what we were saying before, how when you allow your body to mimic nature, if you go far enough back, there were times when we didn't have food or water.
Yep.
Maybe
Exactly.
going out on the hunt, you couldn't find anything, or maybe it was just there was a drought and you had to walk several days to find water.
Yep.
So
And then
our
at
our
that
DNA has been through this before.
right, and at that point, why would the creationists put it for us that our brains need to be sharper at points when there's no food to go and help us look for the food, and because it wouldn't make sense. You become too weak when you've got no food. You need to be sharper mentally so you can find the food. I like that analogy. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
And also it ties in with what I know you like and I like, which is hormesis. The fact that when you put the body under stress with what is it, even red light therapy, but we've got the ice baths you can talk about. There's the fasting, dry fasting. When you stress the body out a little bit, it becomes back stronger.
Yeah. So it's all about acute stressors. But the problem today is most people are dealing with chronic stress. Well, they're not dealing with it, and that's the problem. You know, we all have all these stressors going on, and that's if you want to extend your life, if you want to be your best, you've really got to deal with that too. But the problem is people are just kind of accepting and they're adapting to chronic stress, but they're unwilling to inflict themselves upon acute stress.
Yep. Yeah, so true. Okay, so I want to ask you quickly about your lifestyle and what you do on a daily basis, because you're a biohacker like me, and I resonate a lot. We're very similar in what we do in the protocols. So just run us through your favorite things you do in a day that really hack your health, and but that be spiritual, emotional, physical, all of them.
Yeah, so most of the stuff I do is pretty simple. I don't do anything too far. Well, maybe dry fasting's far out, but that's not part of my daily lifestyle. But the first thing I do when I wake up is I have a morning routine. Well, I do pee, but I have a morning routine. So I do a gratitude practice and just really focus on the great things in my life. I do some light qigong. This time of year I have to wait for the sunrise, but sometimes I'm watching the sunrise first thing in the morning. In a couple months, it's going to be up at 5:30.
Yeah.
Right now, it's up around 7:15.
Mm.
But I do some qigong. After my gratitude, I do some Wim Hof breathing. 2 days a week, I do an intermittent fast. So I skip breakfast in the morning. I do an ice bath in the morning during the colder months.
Mm.
And then I do some intense exercise. And the reason I do that is because when you're fasting, that increases AMPK, which modulates your body's energy production. So it's kind of like what you were saying before. you're going without food, the body actually does things to give you more energy and focus so you can find that food.
Yeah.
So you can survive another day. So cold does that. Fasting does that.
Sunlight does it.
Sunlight does it. Intense exercise does that.
Yep.
So 2 days a week, I'm doing that combination.
Mm.
I'm also taking some different plant compounds.
Which ones you taking? Yeah.
Fisetin is one, resveratrol. What else? Apigenin.
Okay, I've not heard of these. Are these life extending, or they're doing things that are specific for you?
So they increase the removal of senescent cells. So one of the benefits of fasting is autophagy. So they basically increase the benefits of autophagy. Cool. Especially when, and berberine too. I do some berberine as well. So so when you combine all these things, they have a synergistic effect.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. I think I was never a big fan of supplements. Now I've definitely evolved, I like to say, to realizing the power for them, because I feel different when I'm on them. So I always know they're working. And I think as a biohacker, I should honor that and try out all the supplements. I think there's so many, Nathan, out there, to be honest with you, that are amazing. I mean, do you watch Dave Asprey, by the way? He does a lot. There's a lot of them that they're trying out a lot of these, I don't know, what do you call it? Nootropics too? Nootropics, I think they're called.
Yeah, some people, they take a ton of supplements and they call themselves biohackers. That's a very small percentage of my lifestyle. So day to day, I'm not necessarily taking a lot of supplements. I'll supplement daily, like Celtic sea salt. I'll dissolve some in water in the morning. Some iodine, some fulvic minerals, things like that. But as far as day-to-day supplements, I'm not taking a ton of supplements. I'm doing those supplements I mentioned on 2 days a week when I do intermittent fast. And every now and then I'll hear about or I'll read about a supplement that has amazing benefits, and I'll get some, I'll try it out, but there's not a whole lot of things for me that I'll take it and I'll feel like it really moves the needle. And a lot of these things, they have to build up in your body and your system. But I kind of lack the patience for taking supplements long-term.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Some of them don't. That's my issue. It's always been my issue with supplements. If they don't move the needle, then I'm not motivated. I mean, I'm not even motivated if I know it theory, but if I don't feel a difference, then I'm not motivated often. I need to feel it move inside me and do something for me to get behind it and to make it a part of my lifestyle. If not, then I'm just going on theory, and I don't like to. I go on body feel, like we both do. Like moving the needle of health is so important. Like I've never done an ice bath, but I know what it's like when you go in the cold, and it feels amazing afterwards and during too, it depending how you look at it. So yeah, it has to move the needle with all these things. The dry fast definitely does. There's so many that don't, and in the supplement fields, I feel. So I'm agree with you.
Yeah. Everything has a context, right? So in some cases, I think it makes sense to take a supplement, and if you're in a hole, supplements can help you get out of that hole quicker. And it just depends. It depends on what you want to do. For me, it's kind of a lot of work to like take a whole bunch of supplements. And when I was dealing with Lyme disease, I was taking like 30 supplements a day, maybe even more. And so I kind of have like a negative memory of taking loads of supplements from that.
And a negative bank account too, right?
Yeah, that's the other thing. They can get very costly too.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's my main thing, my morning routine. I enjoy resistance training, going for walks when I can, though I do fewer walks in the winter time, but just getting intermittent breaks throughout the day, getting natural light in my eyes. And one thing before I go to bed, I pray every morning and night. And something else before I go to bed, I just kind of do a mental review of things that went well, and I just acknowledge what went well. And that just reinforces it in your head.
Yeah, that's linked to gratitude, isn't it? Like you want to be grateful for the things that are going well in your life, whilst trying to practice the art of letting go of the negative things that come up, even though our nature, I feel, is to focus in on the negative sometimes. And
yeah, and actually you just brought up something else that I do, I kind of forgot about, but letting go. So processing negative emotions. Have you read that book by Dr. David Hawkins?
Do you know what? Oh no, I just literally just listened to the podcast about it. Someone was talking about him, Luke Stoneberg Greenfield. I haven't got.
I actually have it right here. But
wow.
He's got this book. He's got a bunch of books.
Power versus Force. I really want to read too. He's an amazing guy. Oh, that one. There we go.
Yeah.
I so
Power
want to
Rich
read his
Sports.
books. Yeah.
But yeah,
He died
definitely,
recently, you know. He died recently.
Yeah, yeah. But this what this book teaches you is, we're just talking about chronic stress, and a lot of people, like, something will happen to them, and all of a sudden it'll push them over the edge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll be like, "Oh, that's the thing that stressed me out," but that's not the thing that stressed you out. It's an internal thing, not external.
Yeah.
So what happens is we have all these external factors that cause stress. When we don't learn to let it go and process it, it builds up, and it's just like a pressure cooker. When you don't let off the steam, at some point you're going to get to a point where you're just going to explode.
Yeah.
So
That's
just getting into the habit,
Yeah.
when in the moment when things happen that stress you out, that puts you like in fear or panic or sadness or depression.
Yeah.
It's just acknowledging that and just saying, I'm feeling sad about this, and just really connecting with that sadness, with that emotion.
Yeah.
And when you do that, that allows your body to process it.
Yeah, and if it's not processed, it's like a bit like poisons going in the body, like from bad food or whatever you want to call it, toxins, and that's going to come
100%.
out. Yeah, and it's going to stay in the body. And then, so people that take psychedelics sometimes have bad bad times, and the reason why is because of what you said. Because if you're not letting go of emotions as they come up, yeah, it happens. People have really bad times with it. Because what's going on, I think, is what you said, that you keep all the emotions in your body and aren't releasing it or acknowledge them at the moment in time, and it's just building up and hiding in there. The psychedelics are so powerful. They bring out all of the shit, and you've got too much you trapped because you didn't take responsibility. And like, it's all tied together, if that makes any sense, I feel.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done enough psychedelics to go on a trip. Fortunately, many years ago, I would like to revisit it at some point, but for therapeutic, not for partying.
Microdosing, you mean? Microdosing, yeah.
Well, I've done microdosing, but I'm talking about doing like a larger amount.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like, kind of like a guided trip.
Oh,
in
right,
my younger years, back in college, I did it, but it was more of a partying thing, and luckily I never had a bad trip. I was around some people I did, and it didn't look too fun. But I think that's going to be one of the next big things, is therapists working with people using hallucinogenic drugs.
Like what you said there. Yeah, I mean, there's studies now coming out all over universities in your country, USA, that are coming out with studies on psilocybin and LSD, even ecstasy therapy. I mean, Jesus, yeah, I think it's going to blow up. I really do. There's a mainstream guy. You heard of? Read a book called How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. That's a really good book on from a mainstream guy. He's synthesized.
Is he the food guy, Michael Pollan?
Correct, he is. But he's the food guy. But
last year, that book.
Yeah, last year, the year before, he decided to write a book on psychedelics, and he did some.
Oh, really?
And it's a really good book. Do you know what I like about it? It's a layman's book, Nathan. Like, it explains without being complicated and woo-woo. It gives people an understanding of the power of psychedelics to change your mind, because that's what they do. Yeah. They rewire the brain, and sometimes we get caught in a certain mindset that we can't, like addictions. We get stuck, and it's so hard. So for me, I'm always trying to promote for myself and other people, take psychedelics and let that brain rewire itself in such a powerful way. It literally forces you to change and wake up. It's powerful.
Yeah, for sure. It's very interesting.
Yeah, man. Hey, I was going to ask you, do you still use the red light machine? Do you red light therapy? Do you have red light therapy? And you had the infrared last time.
Yeah. So when I'm doing my ice bath, I've got my panel. I've got my panel right here next to me.
Oh.
I've got it shining on me.
Yeah.
And I'll do it. I'll also shine it on my testicles that's a great testosterone hack.
Yes.
And so I'll have it actually after I do a leg workout. I'll have it shining, so it's hitting my thighs, my testicles, but also my stomach, because it's very good for like your bacteria love red light. And that's a simple hack to make molecular hydrogen.
Okay.
So
I remember you saying this from when you were interviewed by Extreme Health Radio, Justin. I always remember that. I love that knowledge. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So ideally, when you're eating food, you want to be outside with sun on your gut. But if we live in a cold climate, not everyone's willing to do that, and especially if it's raining and like it is right now. Yep. But yeah, just getting that red light on your gut, that causes the bacteria to liberate hydrogen from your food. So it makes molecular hydrogen, just like people get the capsules or they buy the machines that make molecular like water
Yeah.
with hydrogen.
Yep.
It's basically the same thing.
Yep. Yeah, that's powerful. And not to mention the fact that red light therapy, the machines increase the mitochondrial function of pretty much wherever it touches inside your body. So whichever organ gets it, gets the benefit of that, the machine. By the way, have you got a big one? You said it hits, because some people have, is it a mid-size, small one?
Yeah, I just got.
Oh, that looks like a MIDI. Yeah, it's a mid one, isn't it? Mid-size. That's cool.
Yeah.
And does it have the two frequencies, 660 and 880, the ones that they say is the best?
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
Did you do it too?
Oh yeah, so I got I affiliated with and I got given for free a red light machine, and I got a mid one like yourself, and it's amazing, Nathan. I'm on it like yourself. I knew that it's shining on the testicles because it increases testosterone, which is huge for me. I think for every guy you've got to focus on testosterone because we're lacking on it. But yeah, like I've always been obsessed with the sunrise sunset and being out, but now I can do both. I don't think I just want to be just always going out sunrise sunset and focusing on the nature. Sometimes I like the machine, and even beyond that, it's like I said, it's cold, so I can't take my top off at sunrise sunset all the time or with my shorts. So the machine allows full body access. You can be naked and do that, and it's kind of cool. So I really like that. I really do.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite toys.
Yeah, it makes such a difference. I actually think that the red is the most important color of the sun. That's why it's not blue light. They all have benefits. They all have benefits, all colors of the sun. But it's funny how red light therapy machines are the most popular of all the colors. There's no purple light therapy. There's no blue light therapy. There is such thing as blue light, but it's not like blue light therapy that people buy and use as much. So it's the most important color for a reason.
Yeah, for sure. I also have a so this is just a heat bulb. So
Right.
this is a lamp.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have it on now, but lots of times when I have my window open in the winter and it's cold out,
yeah,
I'll have a heat lamp shining on me so I'm not freezing
nice.
my
Is that got
off.
infrared? Is that an infrared one, or is it just heat or infrared ones too?
It's near infrared.
Near infrared. Okay. Yeah, I've got one too of those. They're really powerful, by the way. I've noticed a huge difference. I bought it recently. Whenever I use it, I get higher off it. So it's doing something very special with the infrared ones, and they're cheap too. Those things. So people should look out.
Yeah. That one was like $10. The clamp lamp was $10. So that's it's a $20 plus electricity costs. That's a pretty cheap biohacker right there.
Exactly. Yeah, I've always loved the biohacks, and yeah, I feel like we covered a lot in this. But before we go, I want to give you the opportunity to say anything that I talk about anything that I didn't mention. Also, your program a little bit. Are you still running the program with helping people on your website, and is that still available?
Yeah. So I've got a coaching program. So there's three main areas of focus on that. So number one is design. So that's really working with the self-image. Because the self-image, we've got all these beliefs. It's kind of our mental blueprint of how we see ourselves. And we have beliefs that support us. Like you're a naturally driven guy for health. You're always doing these biohacks. That's like a part of you, right? That's a part of your self-image. You don't have to work at that. That's just kind of who you are. But then we have parts of our self-image, like I'm not good enough, or these things that we learned as a little kid. Maybe we got up in kindergarten or the first grade and we spoke up in class and the kids laughed at us.
Yeah.
So we've been horrified of public speaking. So that's a part of your self-image too. So in design, it's really just identifying the limiting beliefs and creating new beliefs that align with who you want to be to override those other beliefs. So just designing a self-image aligned with who you want to be in your life and where you want to go. So the second part is optimize. So really just optimizing mitochondrial health. So the body's making more energy, optimizing digestion, fixing the gut health. And the brain and the gut are connected. So also optimizing brain health as well. And just teaching people these different biohacks to increase autophagy, to keep their cells young, to extend life.
Yep.
And then the third part is integrate, just making these practices a part of your lifestyle. So you're not trying to be healthy. That's who you are. You're doing these things every single day, and they're just adding to your foundation of health and helping you continue to grow and really achieve your purpose in life as you live your life.
I like all of that. I like the program. That makes complete sense. It's holistic, and I'm all about holistic, man. You can't just tackle it like the farmer with just oh, the leg's not working, let's deal with the leg. It's the whole body that needs integrating, as your number 3 says. So yeah, that's a strong foundation, I think, people's health. Is it a website? I'll put the links on below. But your website, you do have a website, don't you? I think I remember.
Yeah, my website's Journey to Optimal Health. So I actually just put together like a free 2-week video course on to help people double their energy. So Harry, I'm not going to promise it's going to help you double your energy because you're doing a lot of stuff.
Oh, I don't know, bro. I'm always up for doubling my energy. It probably does.
But you get to put, the higher you get, the harder it is to double or to really move the needle.
True.
Right? But if you struggle with your energy, I've heard back from a ton of people that even within the first week, they're already noticing a major improvement in their energy.
Wow, I'm going to watch these videos too.
Yeah, I'll send you a link if you want to post it with the video.
Yeah.
But it's a 2-week course. There's about 7 different video lessons, and you work up to a total of about 10, maybe 12 minutes daily of new practices to add to your life that are gonna, in the short term, double your energy. In the long term, completely change your life. You keep
I like that. You're giving them the glimpse and experiences through what you're saying and they practice. And then once people get the glimpse, they're motivated to keep it into their lifestyles. And then the rest is history and they become the best version of themselves, which is what we always want. So that's amazing. Thanks for doing that, Nathan. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, so this was Holistic Health Harry with Nathan Waltz. Thank you very much for watching.